Hey everybody, thought I'd post a video here on a problem that I've seen a lot of people having with these newer Ford trucks and probably some older ones as well. I noticed that my oil pressure gauge was, when I was idling below 1500 RPMs, it would drop down to zero. I did a little research on the internet and I found out they said that these oil sending units, which is right here. Don't know if you can see it real well. There you go. Anyway, they go bad, and one sure way to tell is to notice if there's oil around it, and also when you take the wire off of it, the plug, and you'll be able to see inside there in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this thing off. A lot of the instructional videos that I've seen tells you to take the alternator off to get to it. I've got the truck up on ramps, and I'm underneath it here, and as you can see, the alternator's right there. But it looks pretty easy to me to be able to get to it without having to take the alternator off from underneath. So I'm going to be trying that, and I will get back to you here in just a minute. Alright, so as you can see, this is the plug that goes on the end of that. There's a little clip that's right on the flat part of that plug. You can see the flat part right there. There's a little plug. You just take a screwdriver and you can stick it right down into the top part of that plug and push that little indentation down. Little you can see it right there, little catch, and it'll just pop right off. Now you can see all the oil that's on the sensor, so that means that the little diaphragm that's in there is leaking, and you can also see the oil up in the connector, and so that's probably why we're not getting a good connection on it. But anyway, this is a 13/16 wrench fits this. I'm going to screw that out, and we'll take a look at it once we get it out of the truck. Okay, got the plug out. This was very easy to take out, by the way. Nothing having to remove the alternator or anything like that. That's where the wire goes into it. And like I said, it takes a 13/16 wrench. You just reach up in there from underneath the truck. It's easy to get out. You don't have to do anything to the alternator. I'll take a look at the new one, see if it matches up. Okay, so here's the new one. I got this at O'Reilly. Stopped at Advance first, and they said that it was a Ford only part, that they couldn't get it. But I picked this one up over at O'Reilly, about 500 yards down the road from the Advance, and they had it there. It was about, I think it was like around 20 bucks, something like that. Went ahead and bought the oil and the oil filter to go ahead and change the oil after I get this put back in there. By the way, just as a side note, I don't know if this is true or not, but I have been told that if you put a different filter on these new Ford trucks, mine's a 2014, that something about the back pressure can cause these units to fail. And I don't know that that's true or not, but I have no problem with a Motorcraft oil filter, so that's what I'm going back in it with. And I typically run Motorcraft oil, but it's a little bit more difficult to come by, so I'm running Mobil 1 5W20 synthetic, which is what the book calls for 520 synthetic. Okay, well, I'm going to get this back in there, try to see if I can get the connector on the wire cleaned up and get some of that oil out of there. Probably use something like contact cleaner or something like that, and be back. All right, so this is my contact cleaner. This is a professional brand contact cleaner that you can order from like, supply houses and stuff like that. This is usually not off the shelf stuff. I'm in electronics, so that's the reason why I can have access to this. You could probably get it from places like Mauser or maybe MCM Electronics, places like that. So it's a little, I apologize for not showing a lot of detail, but I'm only out here by myself, and sometimes it's taking two hands to do this. So I'm having to show you kind of the after effects of what's going on with it. I'll show you when I get under there, try to show you how the oil has gotten through the sensor and into the contact itself, and what I'm going to do with the contact spray. So stand by. Okay, so I'm back under the truck here. As you can see, I know the picture's kind of grainy, but this connector, because of the oil that was feeding through the sensor, was getting into that connector and probably causing a connection problem there. So what I'm going to do, let me see if I can do this with one hand here. I'm not going to spray it because I've got to get out of the way. I'm going to take my contact cleaner and I'm going to spray all up inside of that connector right there, and just try to displace that oil that's up in there. Of course, the new one doesn't need to be done because it doesn't have any oil in it. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, so I got that sprayed out. As you can see, it's a lot cleaner now. Most of the oil is gone. And that contact cleaner, you don't have to worry about it. It's very kind of like alcohol, and it dries very, very quickly, so you don't have to worry too much about it, causing any kind of problems or anything. That's what it's made for. All right, so I'm going to plug that plug into the new sensor, and as far as that part goes, we should be through with this. Quick and easy, easy peasy. Okay, so as you can see, the plug is now back on the sensor. Didn't have to remove the alternator. It does run out a little bit of oil when you take that sensor out, so you might want to just have your little drip pan or something. I'm doing it in the yard, so it really doesn't matter that much. And that's about it, folks. So we'll see how things go with the change out. I got a feeling that that's going to take care of the problem, since we had so much oil going through that sensor into the connection. Just one thing to caution you about when you're putting that plug back on there, be sure you get it on correctly, obviously, and it'll snap into place, but just make sure that little clip, you can see the little slot. You can see the little slot in it. If I can get it on the right place there. There you go. You can see it there. That little slot has to have a little tooth that clicks into it, and you'll hear it when you put it on there. It goes, when you put it on there, it just goes click, and you'll feel it. You'll actually feel it when it goes on there. So that's it. That's how easy it is to change this oil sending unit on a 2014 XLT 5.0 liter 2-wheel drive. Hope you have a good day. Thanks.